And you can see her old grave there.
Right, if you move just slightly to your hands. That's perfect.
Okay. Let me know when to begin.
Okay.
Something happens to me with music. The vibration of it, I feel it in my body, and it seems to go right up into my brain. And suddenly I become the electric forest all by myself. I don't need drugs and alcohol. Music does that and lifts me up.
Last summer, while working at Amherst Community Connections, an Amherst-based nonprofit that helps the houseless community here, I heard of Lou Sorrentino. He was mentioned to me as a board member who occasionally played music for the houseless community here. Curious, I explored his website and discovered that he's a music therapist who has held the hands of countless people through battles with addiction and other troubling times. Moved by his work, I met with him, our similar passion for music, forging the way for lively conversation.
At about age 12, I went out of my parents' house and I saw these little nips of liquor on the side of the door that nobody ever drank. And so I stole some of them and went to school and drank a couple of them. And I said, pretty good. And by the age of 14, I was doing a lot of them. And then it went spiraling up to a terrible experience where I ended up going to jail for a whole year because my best friend set me up with an undercover police officer. Because he was already arrested, and they said, we'll give you a half a sentence if you give us somebody else. And at that point, I was about 18, and it was a horrible experience. But I got out, and I figured, well, I'll just be really careful. I won't tell anybody. I won't sell any drugs on the street, only to my best friends. Like that made sense. This guy who did that did it. And then for next 10, 12 years, I just continued to do that, and I'd stop for a little while, I'd stop for another little while, and then go back again. I ended up getting married, and that was really wonderful, and my wife drank with me all the time, did drugs. But then this one day, I was really feeling down, and at age 32, I got down on my knees at 3 in the morning and I said, God, please help me. I can't do this anymore. What do I do? I've been to rehabs, I've been to prison, I've tried everything. What do I do? And I'll never forget, I felt this tingle in my body. Very similar to what happened to me at the Emily Dickinson Museum when I wrote the song, Hope Never Stops. And I got up and I felt really much better. And I went to my first AA meeting that day. Many times I would sit there just crying after a gig and write things down. And then the next day when I was sober, I'd think about that and I'd put a few words to it, add a few lines of music to it. I said, what do I learn from? But once I got sober, I looked at some of the stuff I wrote down and I transformed it into something that was really meaningful. I brought what those little words that I wrote down into high as a kite, and I made them into a more spiritual version. And I transformed that the way God had transformed me. And there's numerous things on my website that are, they sound nice, but the story behind it was transformative. They didn't just happen because I decided to write it. They were about wonderful, miraculous experiences. When I lost somebody or I had a miracle happen in my life that I thought would never happen. Most of them are about that. And I ended up working back in the same hospital I was locked up in. The only person at that time that ever happened to. And when I went in there, the doctor said, as he introduced me to the staff, oh, I think I met you at Yale, Lou. I said, no, doctor, you're the guy in my chart. And I showed him the chart that said I was hopeless.
mentioned that most of his songs were written out of a great moment of transformation. But one of his songs seemed to speak to him more than the others. Hope Never Stops.
My name is Lou Sorrentino. I'm from East Windsor, Connecticut. I had a weird Emily Dickinson encounter in a moment when I was feeling hopeless in her garden. I took a deep breath as I remembered the words I saw in her museum. It felt like she was speaking through me as I wrote this song.
My youthful dreams, they passed away. But in these recent days, I must proclaim what wiser ones
That's
did
a
say.
sacred moment for me because I was feeling really down. I had been attacked by that man
I've come to
who
understand.
was drunk because I was helping his ex-girlfriend. And he tried to kill me,
That I was looking for
and I was feeling really depressed.
before my eyes.
And I was thinking, oh my God, my life is over. I was thinking I was going to die.
Hope is the thing with feathers.
But I walked into that museum for the first time and I saw on the wall,
Sings a song without
hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings a tune without words that never stops at all. It was shortly after that I wrote down things about Hope Never Stops, and over the next couple of days I was feeling much better, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I should write a song about this. I've written many before, but nothing was as miraculous as what happened in that moment.
Lou said to me that he came back to Amherst often to visit Emily Dickinson's grave. He wanted to perform his song Hope Never Stops for me in front of her gravestone, an ode to how her presence still speaks to him to this day.
Thank you, Emily, for this beautiful song. I was feeling hopeless, and I came to Emily. She helped me write this song. My youthful dreams, they passed away. But in these recent days, I must proclaim what wiser ones did say. I've come to understand, much to my surprise, all that I was looking for, it's right before my eyes. It's right before my eyes. Yes, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. To sing a song without words, it never stops at all. It never stops. Hope never stops. It never stops.
Little did I know
at all.
that Emily was a piano player too, a musician like me.
At all.
And the people, when she was going to school at Emily Dickinson's school, she was in the female seminary in Amherst. And they said she was a no-hoper. She didn't have any hope because she didn't speak religion the way they wanted her. Yet she put it into action and helped the community in ways that a lot of the people didn't.
So what do you do?
And she just did it in such a creative manner that a lot of the people didn't understand what she was doing. But she just did it not for money or for recognition, because she was possessed by it. And I felt the same thing in that experience. It just lifted me up, and I never went back to that feeling of being so depressed and painful.
That hope is the thing with feathers. It perches in the soul. To sing a song without words, it never stops at all. Never. It never stops. It never stops. It never stops at all. It never stops at all. If I could give you what I've learned, there's no price I wouldn't pay. But the longing, it still yearns to sing what words can't say.
As Lou sang to me, I could really understand and feel his healing presence with music. Curious about his music therapy, I decided to go to the Windsor Recovery Center in Windsor, Connecticut, where he mentioned that he helped a client named Dan a couple years ago.
Hi, my name is Dan. About 4 years ago, a friend of mine referred Lou to me. I was struggling with addiction, and my friend said Lou would be a good person to help me out with that addiction. I knew for a while that I needed to get some help, but it started to affect like my job and different stuff like that. Like, people were noticing me at work not looking the best and stuff like that. So people like referred me to Lou, and it's been a big help ever since. When I first met him, the first thing he did was give me a hug. And so it was like very welcoming, and I was very down on myself. So it was nice to have somebody, greet me like that. And he was always very upbeat and positive, and that was something I really needed at that point in my life. Still need now. It's always good to be around positive people. And then one of the first things he did was start playing the piano, started singing some songs and stuff like that. So that, like, with the song, or he would play a guitar, and then just it was just like, it wasn't just music, but we would like have different conversations and stuff about like what I've gone through, and he shared his experiences, and we had some similar experiences in the past, and like, so it was just talking too, but then it'd always be like some music to help, or sometimes we would have like a little bit of his music playing in the background while we were talking, which definitely helped out a lot. So
I'd like you to just meditate a little bit while I play a little bit with you. So take a deep breath. Whatever the question, God is the answer. Whatever the question, I am the answer. What you've been looking for. All of your life, yearning for someone to come and open the door. Time and again,
I'm
and I knew you then,
That's
my
better.
precious one.
I won't tell her about that
Waited for
other
you
person
so
that
long.
he's sticking with me
No, that's fine.
last week.
So
I'm sorry.
enter
What happens at home stays at home.
That's right.
straight gate by the narrow way. I am the good
He's like, what the
shepherd, the truth and the life and the way. I am with you always.
Well, like, to me, it is very like relaxing and like soothing. Like, I get really anxious or something, or I start thinking about stuff that I've done in the past. I feel like it's just helps center me and realize that where I've come now, and how just staying on the right path, and just very uplifting. Or sometimes I get anxious, so like certain kind of music will relax me, and I'll just take some deep breaths, and just I'm Christian, so I'll start like praying as like I'm listening to like maybe like an instrumental or something like that. It helps me out a lot.
I am with you always. been wonderful things that happened in my life, and I've been part of that for a lot of people like Dan, to see him rise up and become the most successful client I ever had. And that shows me that hope never stops. Never. He's a living example of that to me, and that's why I know that music needs to continue in my life, no matter what's going on. Miracles happen.